Gary is in the middle of seizing Maddie's car for failure to pay her taxes. She needs the car for her job as an Uber driver, which would help her pay off her debt. However, Gary isn't concerned about that. He's also using this situation to get back at her for ghosting him in the past. Maddie uses her feminine wiles to attempt and keep her car, but once Gary notices half-naked Italian leave her house, he knows she's BSing him. Maddie claims the man is her cousin, but come on, Gary is out. Maddie has to use her skates to get to her bartending job. However, she sees her car hasn't been towed away yet. While Gary is busy deciding on bread at the bakery, she quickly tries to drive her car away, but it's still attached to the tow truck. She doesn't get far before Gary stops her by lifting the car again. Maddie has the entire summer to pay her taxes before her house is taken away. She believes wealthy people are the reason her taxes have gone up so much. But her stressful morning is only beginning, as a rich folk asks her for a drink, but they only open at noon. A generous tip doesn't change her stance. There is something seriously wrong with Maddie. Her boss tells her to take a breather. Maddie's sister, Sarah, finds an alternative for Maddie. There's an ad, dating a socially shy 19-year-old, preparing him for college, will net her a car. It does say something about early to mid-20s. Jim goes as far to say if she's ready to rent out her vag, she can start an OF page. He's never taken seriously. With her bills piling up, Maddie feels her only option to keep her job as an Uber driver is to get another car. So she dresses up and uses the only type of transport she has. Laying her eyes on the prize, she is greeted by Allison and Laird. They initially think Maddie is a sex worker. They also question her age. Maddie says she turned 29 last year, so now she is 30? Nope, she's 32. Despite the parents' initial doubts, Maddie convinces them by arguing that unlike younger girls, she is experienced and professional. Surprisingly a good argument. The parents tell Maddie that their son, Percy, is smart but very shy. He doesn't have friends, loves music but won't play for others, and he neither drinks nor drives. They also mention they have access to Percy's passcode, checking his texts and browser history. They reassure Maddie that Percy isn't gay. They offer Maddie the car if she genuinely dates Percy, emphasizing that she should date him hard. However, they insist this arrangement must remain a secret. They suggest that the best place for Maddie and Percy to meet is at the animal shelter where he volunteers. Maddie puts on her best, I am 25 outfit, to make a good impression and signals her interest in getting Percy's help. In an attempt to be playful, she asks if she can touch his wiener, quickly clarifying she means the dog. The moment turns awkward, and Percy struggles to stay focused during the encounter. Despite Maddie's flirtatious behavior being clear enough for even the clerk to notice, Percy remains completely unaware of her intentions. In a private office, Maddie tries to get closer to Percy, but her attempts to catch his attention fail again. She's frustrated with the slow progress and her inability to make Percy notice her. As they need to close up the shelter, Maddie sees an opportunity and offers Percy a ride home, mentioning they live in the same direction. She casually notes his address is on his school bag, trying to make it seem like a coincidence. When Percy sees Maddie's car, he feels uneasy and prefers to ride his bike, but Maddie insists. Along the way, Percy finds several alarming things. His seatbelt is missing, Maddie takes an unfamiliar shortcut to his house, and the presence of a hanging machete in the car adds to his unease. Feeling threatened, Percy tries to signal for help, but Maddie takes his phone away. Upon reaching her destination, Percy is shaking his mace, spraying her a second time because he thinks she's kidnapping him. Maddie, drenched and trying to clear the misunderstanding, argues that a real kidnapper wouldn't share personal details about themselves. She then confesses she approached him because she finds him attractive, a revelation that surprises Percy. Despite the chaotic start, they agree to try again and set up a proper date for the following day. Maddie complains to Sarah about Percy, saying he's incredibly naive because his parents have been overly protective all his life. She's frustrated because she thought she would have earned the car by now, but the kid is unfuckable. The next day, Percy shows up at the bar dressed nicely but feeling awkward. His discomfort isn't just because he's 19 and underage for the bar, but what are those? Maddie tries to connect with him by sharing that she had a very intense dream about him the previous night. Percy, misunderstanding, shares his own dream about being locked in a dog cage by Harley Quinn, unable to escape. He misses the hint, she meant erotic dreams. Maddie can't get through to him. The topic shifts to the Maneater song. Percy used to be scared of it when he was little. Another disappointment. Not to mention the Long Island iced tea. One of many of Maddie's exes she ghosted, pops up. He starts talking about his wife and how much he loves her, despite no one asking. He's not exactly welcome. Trying to connect, Percy asks about Maddie's life, which annoys her. She suggests a late-night beach trip, and despite Percy's reluctance, convinces him to go skinny dipping. Their moment is interrupted by drunk teens stealing their clothes, but Maddie retrieves them. When Maddie wants to take things further, Percy refuses, saying he needs to know someone better first. Frustrated, Maddie gets in the car, but Percy, stuck without a ride, jumps onto the car's hood. Maddie, unfazed, drives recklessly, Even as police spot them, she evades the police by dangerously crossing train tracks at the last second. This experience bonds them, and Percy stays at her place to avoid the police. This is finally Maddie's chance to take things further. With music on and a twerk, Percy still is his usual self. The whole thing gets awkward once again, but the mood shifts when Maddie notices Percy's back. It happens when he gets really anxious. She applies a cream that should help, and they finally have a meaningful conversation. Turns out Percy is so closed off because he was bullied and had to switch schools. He doesn't trust people. His only real support was Jody, his nanny. The next day, they spend it together, having fun doing all sorts of activities, just like in any normal teen date, although Maddie couldn't help herself at times. That evening, Percy gives Maddie a small gift as a sign of their friendship. It leads Maddie to open up about her past, sharing that she grew up without her father. He had an affair with her mother. She wanted to reconnect with him, but the night she had to go to prom, her letter returned unopened, explaining why she never attended the event. Seeing her being vulnerable, Percy finally leans in for a kiss. The moment is swiftly interrupted by a message from Jody, asking to meet up. Maddie thought Percy's nanny, Jody, was a woman, but discovers he's actually a man. Jody, who initially seems friendly, throws a frisbee that Percy fetches. Jody then confesses he has feelings for Percy and warns Maddie, with a hint of his powerful connections, to watch her back. Maddie opens up to Sarah and her husband, confessing she's forming a real connection with Percy. She genuinely likes him, but also mentions her hope to finalize getting the car as part of their arrangement. Maddie shares that she and Percy have plans for dinner later, suggesting this might be the night she achieves her goal. The 19-year-old arranged a limousine, not too shabby. Also, he left his phone at home, so his parents can't track him. It's like that prom Maddie never went to. At the restaurant, Maddie compliments Percy, acknowledging his qualities, and encourages him to play the piano there. She playfully threatens to make a public toast about him if he refuses. Percy gathers his courage and begins to play. As his fingers move across the keys, he chooses Maneater, the song that had been a topic of their conversation at the bar. The room falls silent. Maddie is captivated by it, realizing the song, in a way, reflects her own story. After their bar talk, Percy learned to play Maneater. Natalie, recognizing Percy, compliments his music but mocks Maddie's age, calling her ma'am, and invites Percy to a Princeton college party. The interaction sparks clear tension between Maddie and Natalie. Percy suddenly shifts the topic to Princeton, asking how often Maddie will be able to visit him. It's a 5-hour drive, mind you. Maddie hesitates and makes excuses, like she's bad with long distance, to avoid commitment. Confused, Percy wants to know her real intentions, but without a clear answer, he leaves. In the limo, the air is tense and they arrive at the Princeton party that Maddie refused to attend. Despite Percy telling her not to follow him, she goes inside, instantly being eyed out because of her age. She makes some derogatory comments and the teens instantly whip out their phones and start filming. Turns out Percy is with Natalie upstairs. After multiple tries, she finally finds the right room, and breaks it open. Nothing happened between the two. MDMA hit him differently. Maddie drags him to the bathroom and makes him puke it out. Suddenly some parents barge in, making it clear Maddie doesn't belong at a high school party. Percy tries to defend her, but only makes it worse. They really should leave. On their way home, Percy admits that he's finally ready for Maddie. That's exactly what she wanted, but when Percy admits to loving her, she changes her mind, noting that they should wait. She hates those words. The next morning, Percy's parents are happy for him. He's finally opening up, even tells them about Maddie, until he mentions not going to Princeton, because Maddie is bad with long distance, and he stands his ground on this decision. While Percy waits in the car, his parents call Maddie. Maddie claims Percy is too attached and wants to break things off. The parents offer her the car if she convinces Percy to go to college. Unknowingly, Percy hears the entire conversation through the car's speaker, including Maddie's relief at not having to be intimate with him, leaving Percy devastated by the betrayal. During family dinner, Percy tries some wine, not exactly savoring it. At the same time Maddie arrives, Percy double-booked. At the dinner he intentionally makes things awkward, making fun of Maddie's age and so on. Maddie catches on that he's making fun of her, and when Percy goes to take a call, they suspect he knows. It's Percy's backup, the clerk. They drive the car into the woods and start breaking it apart, but kinda fail miserably. So they throw a rock at the gas and ram it. It does more damage than expected. Maddie finds him in his room and he tries to get it going with her, but she stops him. Maddie is acting so reserved right now and Percy wants her to come clean, but she refuses. She's ready to do some missionary. Percy gets on top, but that lasted exactly 2 seconds. He didn't even get it in. Percy confronts Maddie, revealing he knows about her arrangement with his parents. Maddie attempts to convince him that her feelings for him were real, but Percy no longer trusts her. In a final blow before she departs, he harshly uses the personal and vulnerable information she shared about her father against her. The next day, Gary arrives with Maddie's car, at least it still runs. Percy furiously confronts his parents, telling them that he is done with them. He is his own person and won't let them control his life anymore. They have to let him fail so he can grow. With the IRS notices still piling up and her goal only at 22%, Maddie spends her time Ubering with her banged up car and working as bartender until the end of summer, barely managing to finish her goal in time. The sisters celebrate Maddie's achievement, but the mood shifts when Sarah announces they're moving to Florida due to the high cost of living. Looking to relieve some stress, Maddie connects with a stranger at the bar, and they end up back at her place. There, the stranger finds the finger trap Percy had given her as a token of their friendship. This small reminder makes Maddie think of Percy, and the stranger's poor attempt at humor with the finger trap only adds to her mixed feelings. Maddie takes out the letter she wanted to send to her father back in the time, and finally moves past it. She gets her car repaired and apologizes to Gary for hurting him. She also lists her house for sale. Jody arrives and threatens to increase Maddie's property tax for hurting Percy, but she already sold the house. Since Percy has been ignoring Maddie's calls, she ambushes him at Princeton Mixer. He doesn't want to hear what she's offering. Maddie apologizes to him. Their friendship was real. He is about to drive away, and just like he did before, she jumps on his hood and he starts recklessly driving. Your guess is as good as mine as to why he drives into the sea. They went through a whole loop there, but Percy finally accepts her apology. They have a heartfelt talk and Maddie tells Percy that she is finally moving on from this place. Maddie sold the house to her sister, so they can stay, and Percy is finally becoming independent. His Uber is here. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this.